AmyAnn, thank you very much for joining me. Usually what I do at this point is I'm asking how my founder and entrepreneur is feeling about the whole process. So I'm curious, now that you've been through an exit curious process, as you coined it, tell me a little bit about how are you feeling about this whole process?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the process. And I think I told you at the beginning what I was hoping to get out of it was like have a good time and learn a lot. And I feel like, although it was extremely intense and a really like engaging process, I feel that I learned so much about the M&A process, about my own business, that ultimately I think will be very, very insightful in positioning for an eventual sale when the timing is right.
So for those of you watching and you're confused, because usually this is a testimonial of a successful exit, I asked AmyAnn to share a little bit about her experience because we tested the market. The market spoke, and she didn't get quite what she wanted. So I'm curious, AmyAnn, what were you looking for in an exit?
Yeah, I think it's the combination of the right buyer at the right time at the right number, and what was so, I think, exciting about the process is Website Closers has this amazing database. So there was a lot more volume of interest than I think I expected, and several LOIs, several very interested companies. And I was able to get kind of that inside look of like, how would this business be positioned strategically for the long term with any one of these, 4 or 5 companies that were interested in acquiring it. And, ultimately for me, it came down to the number, feeling like this particular moment in the world, there's some market softening, which has impacted our numbers, and wanting to be able to kind of shore up and sell on the rise, I think is important in this process. And so I learned that, but it's not just the number, it's that post-acquisition role. What is the acquiring company looking for in terms of founder involvement and team involvement? And I think I was able to get a much more realistic and sincere perspective on what the kind of range of options are by speaking to several companies. And I think that's probably really important to a lot of founders to be able to have a good understanding of that and weigh that against higher and lower valuations or different types of strategic fits.
Absolutely. We went out at a pretty aggressive multiple. We tested the upper end of the market. We knew that going in. At least I'm hoping I communicated that to you. We were going to go in at the upper end, and we still got 52 interested buyers that looked at your business. From that, I believe we had 5 or 6 LOIs.
Yeah.
And so we got a chance to get a good read on the market. We got some incredible feedback from those buyers as to how they saw the value of the business. Gave you some of that information with regards to the trend year over year and trailing 12 months, and you absolutely hit the nail on the head. From a timing perspective, the upper end of the trading range tends to sell the best when there's a very clear path in the financials and in the numbers that is undisputable, unarguable, and doesn't need any explanation. So in our case, as we were kind of talking through some of the nuances of the market to our buyers, each of them saw and asked what's kind of what's going on here, and I think you made the right decision to get to the number that you're looking for. And I ask all of my potential clients is I need to know like what is a meaningful exit for you, and let me reverse engineer how we're going to get to there. And there's really only 2 things that affect that. It's the actual price itself and the time. What does it take to get there? On my end, that's where I can do that reverse engineering, and we can figure out when to go out to market. But then I need you as the entrepreneur, I need you as the founder to hit a specific level of earnings that's showing a trend over time, so that the buyers will see that, and it's just like the golden gates to heaven just open up and they all come rushing forth. But even on the higher end of the market, getting 52 inquiries based on a very small financial summary that shows a large multiple, which buyers are all looking at that and thinking, wow, this is a reach here. But they responded. We had a number of calls with buyers, and I'm curious, what was the process like talking to buyers for you?
It was really invigorating and amazing, and I think that we had such a nice range was so helpful too, in having private equity at the table, owner operators, brands, media companies. There was a really nice range. And it was like dating, which you had, kind of prepped me for, where you're really seeing the personality fit. What is the strategic positioning here? I think in terms of, the feedback that I got on the business and the opportunity, I'm feeling so energized by that, right? Like I've had 5 or 6 amazing companies, take a pretty deep look at my business. And I think that it makes a lot of sense, especially if you want an aggressive multiple, to be open perhaps to this taking some time and to getting some feedback and implementing that feedback. Now I have this opportunity to kind of take what I've learned and understand, this over here is very important to buyers, or this is very important to this type of buyer, and really be able to kind of sink my teeth into that. But I found the process really fun, very respectful, very warm. I think that you and your team obviously do so much work to find the best, highest quality professional buyers that have done this before and know what they're doing. And so it's a little catch up for a founder maybe that's not gone through this process before. But yeah, it was a really great, very intensive, definitely very time consuming and energy drawing process, but very rewarding.
That's great to hear. And you're right. You got to hear exactly from potential suitors next time around what you need to do between now and then to get to the pricing, because all of the buyers, none of them, saw a fundamental issue with the business. It was just a valuation perspective that for them, that is solved with more time and a little bit more growth and profitability. So that reduces the risk, because all buyers are just assessing each business based on risk factors and then assigning their value to it. What would you suggest to other exit curious entrepreneurs now that you've been through the process?
I think finding an amazing broker to go through this process with. Truly, I had been and still am reached out to all the time via LinkedIn, via, my email, just like cold calls for people that are interested in acquiring our company. And it's really difficult to navigate, I think, as the founder, how serious are these companies? What is the actual process? So, I would highly recommend finding a guide, support through that process. And, one thing I appreciated about working with you and with Website Closers is I never felt pressured, we have to get this done now. I've never had that feeling. And clearly, we didn't close it now. And I appreciate the flexibility and the, support to test the market and then to take the learnings from there for hopefully maybe a slightly more advantageous valuation at a later time.
Absolutely. I think that lack of pressure comes from, I'm not going anywhere. I've been in e-commerce or in deal making for 20 years. I know when the time is right for you, you would give me the first opportunity to have another chance at this. And, I would hope too that anybody, your colleagues that you bump into that are exit curious, you'd send them my way as well. Because I treat all my clients the same way. This is such a special moment for you. I've had my own exit before, and it was amazing. And I know that, for my clients, these don't come all the time. maybe only 1, 2, or 3 exits, for an entrepreneur in their lifetime. So for this aspect, that I can guide my clients through this is very special to me. I think that comes through in my being and my working, with my clients. And, you've positioned yourself in a very, very strong way where, to get to the number that you're looking for, it is really only a matter of time. So, getting to that and letting that come to fruition, I don't have any pressure. I want you to get the exit that you're looking for, not this is the only deal we have. This is the only time we can do it. We must take it now.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned something I thought that was kind of interesting about, picking a broker. Why pick a broker over just doing this on your own or talking to somebody directly? I struggle to communicate that to potential clients.
Sure.
Sometimes think they're going to save the money. And so for some of them, the commission's a real factor. But why pick a broker over just doing it yourself?
For me, there was this desire to have a coach to say, like, here are all the steps. I had a good deal of confidence that, like, I'll make back the commission by having access to the right buyer and having everything be buttoned up and really have this buffer, I think, relationally, because, the more and more that I got into the process as well, it's like, I will be connected to the buyer for a long time in most of the post-acquisition kind of structures, and they're taking my business. This is like a special, important thing to me. So the way that the conversations were able to be hosted was in a way that was very relational and not adversarial. I didn't have to advocate, directly negotiate about what I was looking for. I had a middle party to do that. And I think that kind of aligns just the tone much better. But then there's all the little things of, like, how to think about ad backs, how to organize the P&Ls, what just like how to kind of package everything and be organized in the process.
Yep. I like to be the guide and the helpful steward through your process, because most founders can be outclassed by buyers who do this all the time.
Totally.
But they can't when I've seen as many deals as I've seen. So
yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much for your time. Looking forward to connecting with you and staying in touch over the subsequent months as we prep you again. And one last question: why me out of all of your choices?
You reached out, and I loved that you were, a founder and entrepreneur and had such deep experience in the e-com space. And I think that showed through the process of just, like, being on this side of things. And I'm glad we found each other and excited to stay connected.
I can't wait. Thank you very much, AmyAnn.
Well, thanks.